Salutations and good morrow everyone, and welcome to a new tutorial video on Valheim, where today we're going to be going through beginner tips that you're going to want to do after you've completed the first missions that the crow gives you for the tutorial. Now, normally the crow is going to lead you all the way up to the point of finding Elkthyr. The last thing that you want to do right away is fight Elkthyr, okay? I will talk about that in another tutorial video, talking ways on how to summon him and also how to cheese him, so keep an eye out for that video. I promise you that one will be coming out, and I plan on doing a lot more tutorial videos on this channel for Valheim because it has over 1 million people who have bought the game, and it now has a huge following and has become a very loved game, especially by yours truly. Now, these tips come from many hours of me playing and many of my friends playing this game a lot, so they have all come together, and I thought, let's combine thoughts together and make a video to help all of you guys out. So, as you guys know, once you beat the crow's tutorial missions, I suppose it's not really beating them, but you play through the crow's tutorial missions, what you're going to do is you're going to end up having some simple things like some berries, you're going to have a stone axe, you're going to have a hammer, you're probably going to have a small house and stuff like that. But there's some tips that I want to give you guys that are going to help you guys on your way a little bit more in this game, and even if you've already beaten Elkthyr, some of these tips will still apply to you. The first one I want to talk to you guys about is food sources. Food sources, there's multiple different types of food sources in the game. There's cooked food, there's not cooked food, there's harvested food, there's mushrooms, there's berries, there's honey, there's all sorts of different things, including meat and other things as well that you can consume in this game. And each one is going to change your stats a little bit. It's going to give you more stamina, it's going to give you more health, it's going to give you better stamina regain, and it's going to give you more health regen. One of those things are always going to happen depending on the type of food that you're eating. But what I could tell you, for as soon as you finish out the crow quests, there are 3 very simple types of food that you can get to eat. The first one, very simple, get yourself some raspberries, okay? They're super easy to get, and they're delicious and sweet and there for you, and they give you healing. They give you 1 HP per tick, and also they're going to raise your maximum HP. The second one I'm going to tell you guys to do, and all you have to do is make sure you're in the meadows, which if you guys don't know how to tell which zone you're in, just open up your map and look, and when you hover over it, in the top right hand corner right over here, it will show you guys which region you are in. So right now it says I'm in meadows. If I scroll up here, it'll say black forest because that's a black forest area. More about the other regions in another tutorial video as well. So let's get out of the map. If you guys want mushrooms, all you have to do is run around in these forested areas and find the red mushrooms that are growing on the ground. They're not that hard to find. Just run through here and find them. Okay, eating multiple different types of food, which you can eat 3, may I mind you, will help you further along in this game because it's going to give you more stamina and such like that. I'm just going to grab these raspberries for now, just for the sake of this tutorial, and we'll talk more about other foods than a more advanced tutorial when we're talking about the best foods that you can consume in this game depending on the region that you're going to be in. But let's move on to tip number 2, guys. Tip number 2 is getting yourself a bow. Now, this seems kind of silly, like Sim. That makes sense. Why wouldn't we get a bow? It's a survival game. You should have a bow. Yes, you are correct. But getting a bow could not be more important in this game because of the amount of damage it can do to things like boar, like deer, and especially Elkthyr. We'll talk more about him though later. So, first thing you need to do is harvest up a whole bunch of boar. Go through and kill them, okay? But, advanced tip for you, this is a little bit more beyond. Do not kill the boar near your house. Where you plan on building, do not kill the boar over there. I'll talk to you guys about that in the advanced tutorial, but for these beginner tutorials, just kill a bunch of boar. You're going to need a lot because you're going to need to make a bow. In order to make a bow, you need to get leather scraps. You need to go over to your workbench, press E, and here it is, a crude bow. All you need is 10 wood. I can get that from just going like this on my house and saying, let me get a couple pieces of wood, please, house. Thank you very much. I need a couple more. You're my favorite. Okay, good to go. All right, now that I have my wood that I need for my bow, I don't have my wood that I need for my bow. Well, I guess I gotta go chop down a couple trees. All right, bonus tip for you, cut down seedlings. You cut them down faster, 2 to 3 swings, 1 to 4 wood, depending on the size of the seedling. Cut down those. It's not really supposed to be part of the tutorial because it's kind of super basic, but do it anyway. It's a little bit of help for you guys there. Okay, so now that I have plenty of wood, I'm going to go back and make my bow. Alright, here we are. Make my bow, crude bow. Go ahead and craft that guy out. Now, before you guys go and start crafting up a whole bunch of wooden arrows, you don't need to do that, okay? crafting out wooden arrows is kind of a waste in time unless you're in a pickle. There is a reason for this. Crafting out wooden arrows don't do as much damage as flint head arrows. Flint head arrows are only wood and flint in the beginning of the game, but there's ways to get them for free. And that is these towers. You'll find towers all over out around Valheim's map. Okay, all you need to do is find the chest that's in the and around these towers, and look at that. I just got 16 arrows straight from that chest, and I also got these coins. Now, the last thing I want to part you guys with, another little tidbit that's not supposed to be part of the video, is holding control and clicking is a way to quick transfer things. So, control click your life away to transfer things quickly. It will save your life, especially if you're fighting things and having to run through a tower and quick grab things. So, speaking of, that is tip 1 around towers. Tip number 2 around towers is beehives. Now, I cannot stress the importance of beehives in this game. You will find the wilderness beehives out hidden inside maps. The best way to find them in the tower is just by listening. If you hear the beehives in the tower, you will know that they are there. And getting them, if you destroy them, not only are you going to get a honey, but you're also going to get a queen bee. Now, queen bees are super important because you could go into crafting and you can make an actual beehive yourself. And it's 10 wood and 1 queen bee. This sounds silly. And no, it's not for mead. It's actually for food in this game. This goes back to number 1. Okay, number 1 tip was eating different types of food. Well, finding beehives out in the wilderness does give you a honey like it did for me, but you don't get an infinite source from it unless you build a beehive. If you build some beehives, you can get an infinite source of honey, which automatically fills one of your food items in your bar. So get yourself some queen bees, build yourself out 5 or 6 beehives, and then have an unlimited amount of honey in your game, so that way you can keep making different types of food and keep having one food bar full. I mean, look how much health and stamina I have now. I can run forever because I took some honey and I also have some berries. Okay, the next tip I want to talk to you guys about is where to build. A lot of people ask me, Sim, where would you suggest building? What would you suggest doing? Where would you go if you wanted to build somewhere? And my tip to you guys, if you want to build somewhere, is to look for a place that has a couple pre-made buildings in it. This building right here is one pre-made building, but this is only one, okay? This isn't a very good place to build, but there are other places, if you explore around Valheim's map, that you will find places that have 2 or 3 buildings put up right around each other, and this is a good place because as you're going through, what you're going to find is that having multiple places that you can gather or store things, maybe having a storage room and a working room and then your actual house, stuff like that, you'll find that it's actually a bonus to have a pre-made building. Yes, you'll have to go through and repair it, but it's going to be faster than having to go through and build, because building in the game is a little tricky when you first start. So go through, find a pre-made place, get a couple things together, and have a pre-built house like that. The third thing, the last thing I want to talk to you guys about that has to deal with the environment is not going out at night. In the beginning, going out at night is nothing but a bad idea. That's why I have that bed made in there, is because going out at night, all it leads to is more greylings and more things that want to hurt you. In fact, even gray shaman and gray dwarves could all come out, and even if you're really, really unlucky, a gray brute will come and find you, and you just don't want to deal with that. Okay, so go through, sleep at night, play during the day. Building a bed is super easy. All you have to do is have it covered and have a fire next to it and put it underneath a shelter, and just like that. But it's too exposed right now. It's because I destroyed this wall, but all you need is 3 walls around it. Don't light yourself on fire and you'll be good to go. And guys, the last tip for today's video is a very simple one, and that is build yourself a flint axe. Don't have the stone axe. It does less damage against monsters. Don't fight with it. Build yourself a stone axe just to get everything you need in order to build your flint axe. Flint is super easy to find. Just walk along the beaches and you will have it. But there you go, guys. There is some beginner tips for all of you guys in Valheim. If you guys have any other beginner tips, please leave them down in the comments. Subscribe today for more awesome Valheim and other videos that I do that'll have to do with survival games. Make sure you guys hit that like button for me again. I really do appreciate it. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.